This is Gary Kay. We're in Chicago at the E4 Experience, and check it out, Michael Lawrence, you brought a robot.
I did. I, in fact, brought two of them.
Yeah, LG has a robot, basically a hospitality robot, among other things, called CLOi, and it got a top product pick for the E4 Experience this year. Talk about, is it CLOi? Did I pronounce that right?
So CLOi is the name of the line of robots. This particular one is called our GuideBot. We also have a ServeBot here, and our third robot we're bringing to the U.S. market is a UVC disinfection bot.
So I can imagine this being in a hotel doing room service?
So this one would probably be your concierge. You come in the room, the hotel, and it had all the information available for maybe all the restaurants that are nearby or other services that you may want to get. And it also has wayfinding, so it'll tell you where on the map you are, where you want to be, and it can walk you there. It has what we call geo-based advertising, but in the context of a hotel, that means that when it's walking you from the front desk to your room, it can tell you, oh, over here's the business center, over there are the restrooms, as you're going to your room.
That's very cool. And this one over here, is this the one that would actually possibly do room service for you, or which one is this?
Yes, sir, this is the ServeBot, so CLOi GuideBot, and the idea is that it can bring product from one spot to another. Originally envisioned for a restaurant setting, bringing product from the kitchen to the table. We also hope that it'll be used more often for bringing room service up. There are some issues with it now, where it doesn't have an enclosed space for food as it gets on the elevator or elsewhere. And so to address that, we're creating a drawer-type version that should hopefully be available in the next 6 months or so. It already exists in Korea, and we're just bringing it over here through the US regulatory process.
And obviously these are battery operated. Tell me about how long the batteries last, and is it based on number of interactions, distance, what is it?
So we say about 10 hours, and it takes about 5 hours to reach full charge. So you charge it maybe overnight or during the day, and you have about a little bit more than a shift of it operating full time. It doesn't really, we're not basing it off of trips or anything like that, travel. The motors are very efficient. The batteries themselves, I think they're 21,500 milliamp hours or something like that. There are two of them in each one. They're very high quality hardware products, just like LG generally produces.
And last question is, you're in a hotel and you're going to use this as a virtual concierge or potentially a delivery robot. I mean, does it have to map it? Is it sort of like the iRobot vacuum cleaner thing, or how does that work?
So it's a little bit different. Each one has its different kind of algorithm. Most of our robots and competitive products also use something called SLAM, simultaneous localization and mapping, which basically the way you implement that is generally you bring the product on site, you move it around the space where it's going to operate. It uses a combination of sensors from LiDAR, sonar, and depth cameras to then generate kind of a blueprint of the area. On top of that blueprint, you can create some nodes to show where it travels. You can create zones for it to go or not go, zones where it goes slower, where there's high traffic areas. And lastly, you put on points of interest so that you know that if you want to go to certain tables, certain rooms, that's all within the brain inside when you install it.
And it's smart enough, has some AI in there, something that knows not to run into somebody, and it can tell the difference between humans and objects. And can it press elevator buttons?
This one does not press elevator buttons, but it does have obstacle detection and avoidance capabilities. So as soon as you come in within about 1 meter, or about 3 feet, it'll start looking at you a little bit more closely. And so we have some sonar sensors. We have a bumper sensor if you actually hit it, but it'll start kind of paying attention to you and modifying its route as appropriate.
And I guess in the early days of this, it's going to be a toy for any kid that sees it. So you've probably got some AI in there for that too, right?
A little bit. We want to have user engagement, and that's always a positive experience for anyone who uses it. But we do have this, for example, right near a Disneyland, which has not at Disneyland, but nearby in a hotel property, which has a lot of kids that come through. And they love it, but they're very respectful as well. They want to check it out. They're very cautious. They want to see it, but they're pulling on it, and it can hold 22 pounds per shelf. So the kid pulling on it's probably not going to be too big of a problem. But yeah, they have a lot of fun. There's a lot of engagement there.
Yeah, this is great. So if you want to check it out, all you got to do is Google. Put in, or just go to LG.com or Google LG CLOi, CLOi, and you'll see it. One of our top picks for the E4 Experience in Chicago this year.